Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get right started. I'm going to introduce the mayor. My role here is as a moderator to be out of the way as much as I can. It's unobtrusive to allow the mayor a chance to say what he wants to say. Clearly there's an interest because there's a full house. This might be instructive for us that in the future, if we want to get people, we should have winning politicians instead of UE professors as speakers. But I'm delighted to be in the same place as the mayor today because, as you well know, he's got a long and an impressive resume. You can see it online if you like. You probably know it by heart. But he's been elected to the Vanderburgh County Commissioners, the Vanderburgh County Council, president of both of those bodies, newly elected mayor by a wide margin, sworn in on January 1st, never lost an election. Got a history in the private sector as well as a news director and a newsman for 17 years and as a senior vice president at Fifth Third Bank. He's a husband and a father and a grandfather and an inveterate campaigner. We know he's a grandfather because we saw the pictures over and over on Facebook and in the TV ads. But I'm delighted to be able to share the stage with the mayor. Why don't you join me in welcoming him today? And I'll start with questions if you don't mind. By the way, I said he has an impressive resume. The impressive part starts at the beginning where it says UE grad in communications. And we're proud of that. We're proud to have, as the 34th mayor of the city of Evansville, a proud University of Evansville graduate. Listen, there's a lot of goodwill in this room and a lot of goodwill across this community for a new mayor and a new beginning. We've had some troubled times here locally and nationally. And so I imagine that for you, job one is to revitalize the economy and get some jobs here. Do you want to tell us about that?
Absolutely. First, I want to thank the university for the invitation. And this turns out to be a really banner day for me because I became a grandfather for the second time.
Wow.
A little after 8 o'clock this morning. So Holden, otherwise known as the secret weapon that we unveiled during the campaign, has his little brother. So we're very excited about that. Oliver Michael. So we'll get out to Tucson sometime in the next few months to see Oliver. We ran on a broad campaign, a lot of issues. Our number one issue was, of course, jobs and the idea of creating a better environment in which to create jobs and build investment in our community. We also talked a lot about the importance of ridding our community of the dreaded meth problem that we have. We also talked a lot about the image and pride of our city. And in early December, we sort of plotted out how we wanted the first couple of weeks of the administration to look. And we wanted to let folks know that we were going to work equally as hard in the mayor's office as we did to get to the mayor's office. So during the course of the transition, we worked with folks in city and county government to identify issues that we could act on quickly. One of the things that we talked about in our jobs plan was the importance of cutting red tape in government. And I can tell you there's a lot of it. It was very common to be out on the campaign trail and have businesses of all kinds say, man, it is so hard to deal with city government. You can't believe this project. We were doing this. We wanted to add 30 jobs and we had a several $100,000 expansion, and the project was stopped time and again because we didn't have the right permits. We thought we did at the beginning. So we've identified that as one of our priorities. And last week we announced that we were taking five ordinances to the city council and asking them to revise them. One of them simply allows for the electronic submission of building permits and building plans. And it's hard to believe in January of 2012, we're just now as a community getting to the point where builders and developers can electronically submit that. If you're in that business, time is money. So if they have to drive downtown, find a place to park in the Civic Center complex, go do your business, it's time away from their job. So that's one of the things we're asking the City Council to amend. We've identified 4 other pieces of red tape that we think are sort of low-hanging fruit that they'll act on. I think we'll get that first reading hopefully the last part of January. On the meth issue, we talked a lot about what needs to happen. There are 2 pieces of legislation in the State House, both of which I support and our administration support. One allows for a state to create to make pseudoephedrine a prescription-only drug. If the legislature does not pass that, we've asked for home rule legislation, which essentially allows local governments the ability to do that. We could create an ordinance in the city of Evansville or in Vanderbilt County or in any community to create that ordinance if we so choose. And I have committed to lead a busload of folks to go up to Indianapolis to lead delegation to lobby for that if it gets a hearing. So that's really important. I've had, it's hard to believe, in 2 weeks I've already had 2 other meetings on meth. We are reaching out to the Property Owners Management Association and the neighborhood associations. Both of these organizations want to be part of the solution. We have reached out to Youth First, which really, as many of you know, has a great program of education in the schools, and we're trying to figure out how we can make a treatment component part of our long-term plan. Several of us we're trying to start with a small group: police chief, fire chief, the Property Management Association folks, the neighborhood folks, and Youth First, and a couple other folks from city government. We're going to get together and really focus what we want to do, so we don't have all these hands touching this big elephant with no clear direction. So we're going to get that done in the next couple of weeks, and then roll out what we think will be, what we hope will be a community, very encompassing plan on how to fight meth. The other thing we talked a lot about during the campaign is the image and pride in our city. And in our house, it's household, trash is very important. Litter is very important. It is not uncommon for us to have a trash bag in our car or to just stop and pick up litter as we're walking for exercise. So we talked about the importance of a mayor's litter initiative that we will lead monthly, and it will be the first Saturday of every month. We had our first one last Saturday. We had a couple hundred volunteers, and we targeted Main Street. We wanted Main Street because it obviously symbolizes the heart of the city. We had a group that started down here, get my bearings straight, along the riverfront, another group that started at Garvin Park, and we met at the Ford Center. We had a lot of trash, as you can imagine, and it was a great symbol. We've had probably 6 or 8 Facebook messages or just emails from people who said, wow, we couldn't join the effort, but in my neighborhood we went out and picked up 25 bags of trash. And that's really the idea. The idea is not necessarily to join the mayor once a month to pick up trash, and yes, I will be doing it every month. But the idea is to motivate people to go out and pick up trash in their part of the world and take pride in their part of the city. We're really excited about this. We had our meeting for our next litter pickup, which is the first Saturday in February, and the date escapes me, but we have identified Burkhart Road as our next target. And we're going to picture Burkhart Road from the Lloyd to Morgan Avenue, and from east to north to south, and Burkhart to Green River, east to west. That's the geographic area we're going to target on the first Saturday in February. And we have enough volunteers who have sent us emails or just called either our office or Keep Evansville Beautiful office. We'll easily be able to do that in about 90 minutes. So that is really taking off, and I suspect that it will only grow as the year goes on. I think we'll get students who need service hours. We'll get church groups who just want to be involved and help out their community. We'll get all kinds of folks, and we'll welcome all volunteers. But that will be a regular monthly event. And I'm really pleased to say that coming soon, we will be rolling out a really great fitness initiative that the mayor's office will also lead, again under the premise of we've got to improve our pride and our image. You know, this whole we're the most obese city in the United States has got to go away, and I think we have some really exciting ideas that I think will be equally well received as the litter campaign.
Well, you totally messed me up, because these are all the questions I was going to ask.
Oh, sorry.
With respect to the obesity problem, I was going to ask, our First Lady, Michelle Obama, and Governor Daniels have both made a lot of effort to try to get people aware of ways to live healthy. So you don't think that's a nanny-state approach? You think that a mayor can help the city think about its health? And
excuse me, not only do I think we can, we will.
Good.
We have some really exciting ideas that have to do with nutrition and fitness. It includes making parks part of the destination, and it will be the charge of our new Parks and Recreation Director, who starts the last Monday of January. That's on her to-do list, and she knows that.
Excellent.
So this is not just something we may do. We are going to do this.
Campaign promise
Yeah.
fulfilled. I'd like to remind you that there was a movie way back when with Robert Redford called The Candidate, and this fellow runs for office in California, and then at the end of the movie he wins, and he's told that now the hard part starts. And I think Mayor Winnecke understands, because he's the veteran of many victorious campaigns, that you work and work and work, and then all of a sudden the hard part starts. Since January 1st and even beforehand, in the transition, you've had to make a number of appointments to dozens of boards and commissions and department heads. Are there a few of those appointments that you're particularly excited about?
I'm excited about all of them, in all candor. We have made a really strong effort to get new blood, new ideas into the administration, to city government. There are a number of incumbents that we kept because they are doing phenomenal jobs. Dennis Hudnall, who runs the city garage, I'm not sure we could find a better person to run the city garage. We left that alone. Diane Clements running human relations. Diane's doing a great job. We're not touching that. But we've made changes in public safety. Billy Bolin as the new police chief and the assistant police chief, Chris Pugh, both really down-to-earth officers, very, very approachable, extraordinarily community-minded. And on the fire side, we promoted 2 people from the fire stations, from the houses, who have a lot of respect among the rank and file. I'm thinking of our new director of metropolitan development, Stephanie and I were talking about earlier. He starts next Tuesday. He's from this area. He's a senior project planner with DMD in Indianapolis, and has more energy than probably half the people in this room at our peak hour of the day. I'm just telling you. And his charge, and I'm not shy about it, his charge is to examine DMD, the structure, how it works, and there are probably some things we need to rebake in that department.
Sure. And you have a highly capable controller coming in.
We do have a highly capable controller. Former Mayor Russ Lloyd, who's a CPA by trade, has joined the administration as the controller, and he has already been a great resource. He just knows things. Institutional knowledge is a good thing.
Undoubtedly. You know, we're just a couple days away from the federal holiday for Martin Luther King, an important moment for America. And I know you've been interested in diversity and inclusion for a long time. Is that part of your administration that you want to spotlight?
It is. I'm really proud that we made a concerted effort to find qualified minorities to work in our administration. And I'm not much of a scorekeeper. I don't know that scorekeeping is good, but I know there are people who are, and in that regard, I think I would get really high marks.
I'm not supposed to talk about myself today, but I woke up knowing that all of a sudden my city government is run, the city council is run by a woman, the county commissioners are run by a woman, my state senator is a woman, my state representative, Suzanne Crouch, is a woman. Women are coming into their own, and I imagine there are women all over City Hall who are part of the administration, not that you're keeping count?
There are. Let's see, in the mayor's office, there are 3 women in the mayor's office. So
I tell you, when everybody is a part of it, we succeed. I mean, when the city comes together, we succeed. I want to ask you about Crane, because you talked about Crane during the election. Any developments there yet? Not yet, but we were only into it 12 days.
Crane, we have this, the city has a technology transfer agreement with Crane. And the easiest way to explain it is if you want to expand your company, perhaps you want a new revenue stream, but you don't know what you want to do, how to develop that revenue stream, we can sit down with the technology labs at Crane, and you can go through and identify technology that's already been developed by the military, and then transfer that to the private sector for the express purpose of job creation. And during the course of the campaign, it became pretty apparent to me that a number of corporate leaders in our community were unaware of this technology transfer agreement. I've had a couple conversations with Debbie Dewey at the Growth Alliance for Greater Evansville. We have 2 ideas, both of which I like, about how to promote the technology transfer. One is simply getting a busload of research and development folks from the leading corporate citizens and driving them to Crane for a day and letting them know what's available. The second is to get a group of these same kind of people in a conference room and have an engineer sort of facilitate what their needs are, and then have that engineer go up and mine the technology labs for the appropriate technology that these companies need. But this is a really high priority. Debbie understands that, and I think, they're a long-term sales cycle. I mean, you just don't go in and say, hey, I want that technology, and it happens tomorrow. There's a little bit of lead work time on it, but I think if we start early, we'll be able to have great benefits down the road.
It's a new administration, a new day, a new team, but sometimes it's worthwhile to hang on to good ideas from the previous administration, and there's one that I liked because it was borrowed from our mayor back in South Bend, where I used to live. Joe Kernan instituted the traveling city halls. Is that something that you're thinking about?
Not only thinking about, we've just blocked out the first date the other day. I think it's the 25th of January, location to be determined, but we'll keep that.
And if there's anybody who's unfamiliar with that, you want to tell them what's
the traveling
possible?
city halls. Essentially, the mayor's top department heads, cabinet members go out to a church, a school, somewhere around town, and they have 90 minutes to 2 hours to sit down and talk to them about specific concerns in their neighborhoods. We'll do one of those a month. And in sort of a bigger picture, we're going to roll out probably late in the first quarter, early second quarter, a citywide visioning project. That's where we'll partner with Leadership Evansville and hopefully the three universities, and go out, and we'll have multiple meetings, let's say, on the west side of town, different times of day, different locations, to hear what people's visions are, either for their neighborhood or for the city overall. After we have all these meetings, we'll go back and look at them all, prioritize them, figure out what we can do, what entails costs, and prioritize them. And then we'll go back out into these same groups and engage them in helping us implement these ideas that they've helped identify. That is a long process. That's that might, we may do that through August or September, just sort of the ascertainment part.
I've got one last question. I could go on forever because I teach on Tuesday and Thursday a 75-minute block, but I want to throw this out to question and answer and get out of the way. But our new mayor has been a champion of consolidation of city and county government, both before he became mayor and still, and it was an issue in the campaign. And I want to know what's your assessment of the chances of that effort, and certainly does it help to have an ardent champion of consolidation in the mayor's seat?
Well, we'll know in November whether it pays to have an ardent champion at the mayor's seat. I will not back off of my position of being a supporter of consolidated government, and I will use my bully pulpit, if you will, to champion that. I think it's that important. I think if you asked me to bet $2 on it today, I'd say it has an even money chance of passing. It would go, I think it could go really either way, but I think if you believe in consolidated government, having equal and even money chances is probably a good thing. I think what will happen is that there will be a group of proponents who will organize and a group of opponents that will organize, and they will run a campaign just like there was a campaign for mayor. They'll go out, each side will go out and raise money, each side will have messaging points, there will be debates where that will be the hot topic, and but I think at the end of the day, I think it will benefit the community.
Okay. We've got lots of people here, and I imagine there are people who have questions for the mayor, so who wants to get us started?
We are aware of that, and Leadership Evansville is they plugged us into that, so that we're not going to duplicate anyone's effort.
Well, I just, their eyes kind of glaze over after 4 or 5 people.
Right.
The same question.
I understand. It will be continued. The question was about the Mayor's Education Roundtable. It will be continued. Dr. Smith and I had a meeting last Wednesday on that, and we have a very specific direction we think we might like to take this, and in a different direction. And once we sort of flesh out how we can do it, there'll be more to come on it, but we were both very excited at the prospect of that. I think we probably would land at a lot of the same policy decisions. We might go about them slightly different, just because our personalities are different. But I don't know. Haven't thought about that one in a while. I think our cores are probably, we have a lot of the same beliefs. How we get to an end product is probably the big difference between the two of us.
The political scientist in me wants to say, the wag in me wants to say that you'll both be facing an 8-1 Democratic majority on the city council. So but that's one thing that they share in common.
That's true. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
A few of us at the Indiana Association of Cities and Towns, the new mayor conference in mid-December, chatted about this issue briefly. Evansville's specific position is probably largely driven by the fact that we're the hub of the area. A lot of people come here, spend money, sales tax originates from here, goes to Indianapolis. I think a lot of that is communicating to the state administration and the legislative delegation about the importance of investment back here. I think that's where it starts. Lobbying those in Indianapolis who make the decisions is vital. In terms of the federal government, Congressman Bouchon and I had a conversation last week about the transportation reauthorization bill and the importance of getting more transportation dollars back here. And he's on the transportation committee. He understands the importance of that. So, those discussions are underway. It's a big ship to turn around, obviously. Yeah. I just had a homeless, the Coalition to End Homelessness meeting just at 10 o'clock this morning, so it's kind of top of mind. A lot of things need to be done, but we'll continue to support the initiatives of that organization, including the update of the plan to end homelessness, building community awareness, and there are a number of things that honestly I'm learning of, for the first time in some cases, but we'll continue to support, because with 430 or 450 homeless people a night in Evansville, as compassionate a community as this is, we ought to be able to do better than that. They have a timeline, and we'll see if they can get it done, because I've given them kind of a short leash. We have a 15 or 16 member task force that has been charged with evaluating the ideas that have been surfaced for Robert Stadium. Their charge is to say, okay, here is idea A, a natatorium. Can the structure be turned into a natatorium? If so, how much will it cost to turn it into a natatorium? Third, what would the annual operating expenses be? Not in the case of a natatorium, but in other cases, would it compete? If so, to what degree with the Ford Center? And in my mind, if there's a reuse, it should not be a competitor to the Ford Center. In my heart of hearts, I just don't think we're large enough to have indoor competing facilities. At the end, so I've given this committee until the end of March to come back with an analysis of these ideas. And Leadership Evansville, by the way, has agreed to help facilitate that discussion, so we don't get into these big public meetings where people are sort of just shouting. It's going to be a very controlled discussion. We're not going to limit ideas. We just want a more professional dialogue, if you will. But I've asked them to come up with this information by the end of March. Then we'll have to identify potential funding streams for each of these ideas. And if we can afford to maintain it and there's a good reuse, we'll do it. If not, then we'll have to raise it and turn it into, more green space. That's my idea if it is raised. At the end of the day, this is what I've said since I started my campaign last January, this has to be a decision based on data and not emotion. I grew up here. I went to all the shrine circuses. I saw Festus and Batman and Robin as a special guest, and I've seen a lot of Aces games over the years. I've seen the Globetrotters there. I get it. I love it too. But at the end of the day, we're all guilty of criticizing Washington for spending money it doesn't have. We should not be hypocritical and say, hey, we want this, when maybe we can't afford it. So that's why it's really important to me that this decision is based on good data and not emotion. Initially, you can do it through the mayor's office, eventually will, as they get up and running. You ask about the first meeting day. I think the first meeting day is going to be one night next week. We're going to announce that either today or tomorrow, but I don't remember the date. But that will be a largely sort of organizational meeting because it's a diverse group of people, and honestly, there are people who are dead set on saving it, and other people who probably don't care one way or the other. They're just out to do a job. But we definitely have some people on the committee who want to save it. I think over the course of the next several months that will change. I think we're going to change the mindset. I think we're going to change the culture of the city. I was walking down Main Street the other day, and someone in front of me, 15 feet in front of me, I didn't know, stopped and picked up a piece of trash. It was a couple days after our news conference to announce the litter initiative, and I thought, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then based on the emails and Facebook messages we've received since Saturday, people who they couldn't make it out to Main Street, they just felt like they wanted to go out and do their part. And that's the message. If you can't join us, just go pick up 5 pieces of litter or clean out your storm grate. It doesn't take much time. I think I think the peer pressure will change the mindset.
A lot of volunteers, right?
Yeah. We had a couple hundred Saturday.
You know, this is a little bit off the subject. There's a very celebrated political scientist named James Q. Wilson. He's a conservative scholar, been around for 50 years. And if you Google this, you can look up the broken windows theory, the broken windows model that has to do with crime in communities. And when you leave a window broken in a community, for whatever reason, it encourages bad behavior. But when you fix it right away, or when you have volunteers come together with the mayor to pick up trash, you can lead by example. And I'm with you that it's not an easy thing to do, but by gosh, if you can lead and demonstrate that there will be an effort to clean up and improve and refurbish the city, it could be it'd be a surprising thing or a delightful thing to see people sort of fall in line after that.
The thing I like about the litter initiative, Clean Evansville, we're calling it, it started with a core group, candidly, of political volunteers, and it's grown into this group of folks who have no political interest whatsoever. They just want to help the community. Yeah. They are corporate folks. I mean, they're from all walks of life. So the committee has grown. KEB has been very instrumental. KEB, it feels like this is like a little something from heaven for them, honestly. So we're really excited about that. I think this is, I don't know how long I'll be mayor. This may be one of the most profound things we do, and that's good. Well, sometimes I face that same frustration, and I did run into David Gerard, our traffic engineer, in the hall Thursday or Friday last week, and he's on my list of people to talk to, and we're going to address that. We just haven't got to it in the first 12 days. But I face it. I mean, everyone faces that frustration. I agree with you. I don't know the answer to it. I'm a big parks guy. I'm a big greenway person. I was concerned in evaluating our board appointments and commissions. We had no female representation on the parks board, and in my mind, we didn't have anyone who was a real champion of trails. So that's why I picked up the phone and asked Roberta Hyman to be one of my appointments to the parks board. So I'm hopefully she can help me lead the charge to continue that. We have to find. I think we'll finish the last leg of the first section of the Greenway to complete the 7-mile loop sometime, late summer, early fall. And I've given direction to the executive team of the Parks Department that when we do that, I want to be able to announce what we're going to do next with a specific timeline, specific budget, and hopefully potentially funding streams as well. Yeah, we will, and I'll take it one step further. Not only do we have to have those, but we have to tell people where they are. You just can't be driving down the street and see a bike logo painted on the street. One of the many meetings I've had since the election and today is with our city-county chief information officer, and we've given him the charge of totally blowing up our website and starting over because I'm fairly certain it was the first website ever created by man. So it's only marginally outdated. But I've asked him, and we need to figure out how to market ourselves, our parks, our bike lanes better. And right now, I'm not aware that you can go to a city website and find out where there are bike paths. So there is?
You need a map that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're working on a smartphone app that's based. The one that we're working on is based on what Indianapolis has. It's called Smart or Request Indy, and you can go to it. I don't think I've deleted it yet. You can go to it and report stray animals, potholes, any street signs or signal problems, grass, weed problems, and it goes right to the department. We're working on that, and the other direction I've given Mr. Arve is to also make sure there's a reporting component to the appropriate members of City Council, because I think it's really important that they're aware of what issues are being brought to the administration's attention. You mentioned the 8-1 Democrat to Republican. I'm not really worried about that. I recognize there are going to be some fights I won't win, but I'll pick those fights carefully. But I do believe we'll work very constructively. One of the things I've committed to do, I've blocked out Monday afternoons from 2 o'clock on as my office time, council time. And any member of the City Council can walk in and visit with me on any issue they want, whether it's on the agenda that night or it's sort of a burning issue. Also, hopefully by sometime in early February, I will have driven each ward with each council representative. I've asked them to figure out what they want me to see in their wards and give me what their priorities are so I can help them fix those things they think need to be fixed. So we're doing a lot of outreach. We're also doing a lot of employee engagement. I think I mentioned this in a cabinet meeting. Our very first cabinet meeting, usually there'd be like 10 or 12 people there, but we expanded it to 26. We drilled down into some areas where not necessarily direct reports to the mayor, but I wanted a lot of people to hear what my vision and my direction for treating people. I told Stephanie this. I know this sounds hokey, but nice is really important to me. Respect is really important to me. And I'm trying to hire people and appoint people that have that same quality. They won't last long if they don't. But we talked about employee engagement, and that is just making sure people understand that they're appreciated. We're going to start this month a monthly lunch with the mayor. 12 randomly selected city employees go to lunch, no agenda, just to kind of figure out. I learn a little more about what they do. They learn a little more about what I do. They can ask anything they want, so we'll start that. And I've also started, you'll be the first group to know this, we have a little over 1,200 city employees, and we'll send a birthday card to each of our city employees. And I got the first 225 cards yesterday. And again, it's just an effort to say, hey, I appreciate what you do, and hopefully, not hopefully, I know it will help build morale, because morale is always a top concern, whether you're at a bank or in city government. So we're trying some new things. I've always been, I think two of my best strengths, one are my patience, and secondly, my ability to recognize what I don't know. So far, I have not been shy about reaching out. I mean, hundreds of people literally have said, hey, if there's anything I can do, and I've called many of them. There are a lot of things I don't know, and if I don't know, I'll say it, but I'll reach out and find the people that will help me. I think the thing that is sort of the most daunting is just time. A lot of people want 15 minutes of my time that turns into 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and in my staff meeting yesterday, I told there were 5 people in the mayor's office, including me, and I said, you have to protect me from myself, because I am my worst enemy. If someone comes by, I'll want to visit with them, and I'll want to try and help them personally. I'll want to pick up the phone and call someone, and I know I'm not going to be able to do that all the time. And so we've agreed to a secret code in the mayor's office. So we're going to see how long that lasts. But time is the thing that scares me the most. Yeah, we have a great new head of metropolitan development, referenced earlier, Philip Hooper. He has a long list of to-do things that I have given him, and that's to help develop a plan to fix the abandoned housing in the center city. That is on our radar for sure. He starts next Tuesday. I told Stephanie earlier, he's already spent his own time down here from Indianapolis, meeting with people, trying to get his arms around the hotel project, the McCurdy project, and so he is so energetic. I have great confidence that he'll put together some really great action plans for us in short order.
I'm afraid we may have to call this to a close because time is short. There's a lot of enthusiasm and optimism coming from the mayor, and I hope you'll join me in wanting to lift him up because he's our mayor now, and we're behind him. And when he succeeds, the city succeeds. And I think this honeymoon should last as long as we can make it last because it's to everyone's benefit. Won't you please join me in thanking Mayor Winnecke? Thank you.